Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
Republicans who will not be voting for Trump this time around. What was the breaking point for you? In 2016, when he demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt that he completely lacked any moral fabric by attempting to disparage McCain's military record because he was captured. I don't understand why this wasn't more of a deal-breaker. I am not at all pro-military nor Republican. But even I found those comments to be utterly unbearable. I just wished someone had lost it at the table and sharply said, "You shut the fuck up about that man." Of course there were more things about him and his policies, but that was the point when I looked at the Republicans and Fox in disbelief. Like, really? You just gonna take it up the ass with a loving smile, whatever. I want Bernie. But I'll take Biden or a potato if it comes to it. Edit, a missing word. Pre-impeachment I was never all that angry. I never voted for him to begin with, and I wasn't planning to this year either. I did vote for Mitt Romney in 2016 and 2018 because I just like most of the work he does for my state. Despite other things, I was surprised by his vote to impeach, and even impressed in a way. I knew he had committed career suicide by doing this, but the backlash he got stateside and from the Trump administration as well as the Republican Party as a whole was disgusting to me. When Mitt Romney was potentially exposed to COVID, and Trump sarcastically said, "Gee, that's too bad," all but expressing how little he cared if my representative lived or died. That was it. The president is dead to me until a new one is elected. Fuck Trump. Stripping wildlife and environmental protections. Goodbye. Investment growth. We had a good run. I'll miss you. It really pissed me off when, like 2 days ago, he made cub hunting legal in Alaska. Like, what in the goddamn fuck? Not only is that fucking horrible, but I feel like changing hunting regulations is not exactly what a president should be focusing on with everything else going on right now. Suppose we hit the body with a tremendous light. Single quote. To be fair, launching people into the sun would be effective at both treating and preventing coronavirus infection. I supported him in 2016 as he was the anti-establishment candidate. I didn't look too much into the things he did, supported. I just knew that he wasn't mainstream, so therefore he must be good. Turns out that was wrong as fuck. I regretted it not too long after he was sworn in. I believe my breaking point was more of a cumulative thing. It didn't really happen all at once. But seeing his bullshit over the course of his presidency, this year I became significantly more politically active and will be voting for Biden. As I like to put it, smashing the system is only worthwhile if you have something better to replace it. Trump just wants to smash the system and leave it in pieces while he takes the money. Positive reform would be best. But failing that, the returns of baseline competence and integrity would be more than enough. His unprofessional attitude toward General James Mattis was my turning point. The man is a military genius and a true patriot. It's amazing watching the mental gymnastics that people are doing now, saying, he wasn't a good general anyway, with other points and such. I don't know why people go through such great lengths to defend Trump. Even turning on the other people they once admired. Name-dropping George fucking Floyd while talking about economic growth. This quote, greater than hopefully George is looking down right now and saying this is a great thing that's happening for our country. It's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody. This is a great day for everybody. This is a great day in terms of equality. It's really what our Constitution requires. And it's what our country is all about. I couldn't even comprehend how he had strung those words together. He has said so many awful things, but saying it is a great day for a man murdered by police officers because a few people had gone back to work is up there. When I realized I'm an independent thinker and don't have to support everything my parents do. A really important, but hard lesson. Blindly following anyone's lead when it comes to politics, even your parents', is almost never a good idea. Good for you. The fact he appointed a oil exec to be the head of the EPA so it could be dismantled. And that he lies constantly. I left the GOP. I used to think I was a Republican. This administration made me realize I was not educated on politics at all. If I had to pick one thing that was truly eye-opening for me, it was the worsening of the kids in cages thing. Edit, it was something I didn't know about until this presidency. And I can't stand the thought of it continuing to happen. The problem is that many people still view the Republican Party as small government and that attracts a lot of people. In reality, no party owns that monopoly, and this administration showed that. If Obama had called the military to kick out protesters, we would have seen an instant impeachment. A relative of mine messaged me about a week after the George Floyd protests had been going to inform me that she had seen a post I made online about it and it moved her to tears. She told me she was no longer supporting Trump because he did not once speak out about police brutality and everything happening. I believe it is the fact that when she saw George Floyd's death, she saw her black family members in his place and realized she could no longer support someone who would let that happen. As much as I love her, her views have in the past been problematic and kind of racist, which hurt me. It was a shock to me that she flipped so suddenly, considering how awful he has been in the past. But I think when things become personal and threaten your family, it can be the one thing that shocks you into seeing the reality of things. The final blow was his handling of the coronavirus, putting states at odds with each and the feds over medical supplies. Why can't we know where $500 billion was allocated? What businesses? Also, golfing at his places on our dime seems very anti-Republican in action. Compelled to add occasions of mandating all of his Secret Service escorts stay at his resorts and pay full price for high-end rooms. With our tax dollars. I actually officially left the Republican Party because Trump was elected. Any party that can vote in that man cannot represent me. My mother-in-law is a 68-year-old woman who was a lifelong Republican until Trump became the nominee. At that point, she completely lost faith in the Republican Party and said she would never give them another vote for the rest of her life because of that. TBH, I was never a Trump supporter. But I had felt that the guy was not as bad as the media portrayed him and was somewhat redeemable. I was essentially an enlightened centrist. Then he betrayed the Kurds. Those people fought and died alongside US soldiers. And Trump just stepped aside and let them be slaughtered so he wouldn't offend Turkey. I can tolerate an immature asshole. I cannot tolerate a traitor. Edit, thanks for the golds. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. Especially when he was making fun of the whole situation at his god-awful rallies. It showed what an evil, immoral, childish bastard he is. That man has no heart. Not saying that previous presidents have not abandoned allies or supported the wrong side in conflicts. But most of the time this was because there was something bigger at stake. But the abandoning of the Kurds purely because he thought that the US troop deployment cost too much money? With absolutely no regards for the geopolitical and diplomatic implications? It proved that Trump is too stupid, too childish, and too morally impaired to be president. I was also so disappointed with all those MAGA assholes suddenly being against the Kurds and supporting this decision while being completely fine with US troops fleeing their positions and allowing their allies to be slaughtered. They hated Obama because he was too weak, while Americans under Trump had to bomb their own base to prevent it from falling into the Turkish-backed jihadist hands. Trump has seriously compromised America's credibility on the world stage, and has made it the laughingstock of the world. Not a single leader takes him seriously. I was raised in an ultra-conservative family. I only started to pay attention to politics during Obama's presidency, which I was promised would result in Sharia law being imposed on America. I saw Fox, my parents, and those around me rail against Obama every day, listing off the various ways he would destroy the country. I cast a vote for Trump, knowing that in a blue state it didn't really matter. So I didn't have to question, research it, and figured he would lose anyway. Absolving me of any blame for a Clinton presidency. My biggest regret is making the popular vote closer. My family, Fox, and those around me have all completely rejected their values to follow Trump every day he does something they vowed Obama would do to ruin the country, and they twist themselves explaining why it's actually a good thing. My good wholesome Christian family members are now some of the most genuinely racist and least intellectual people I know. But there are other siblings like me as well. And they give me hope. It took me about 3 months of being a casual follower of politics to start being involved in local elections. Driving an hour plus to vote. And actually paying attention. I've hopefully started to make up for my mistake by voting more intelligently in the last primary and having discussions with the siblings that are asking similar questions. I can say without hesitation that people who are voting for Trump are either utterly politically apathetic, formerly me, or filled with hate, whether they think about it or not. He simply isn't an intelligent vote with all we've seen. Edit added some context to the first paragraph to clear some confusion. There were so many early on. So goddamn many. But something that upsets me deeply to my core to this day was the separation of children while also deporting a number of the parents to random parts of South America without telling them where they're going, for most of them to die within the first few months of being in some cases literally blindfolded and dropped off. There are 2 to 7-year-olds then and right now who don't know what the fuck is going on or where their parents are. Only for most of them to already be dead right now or never seen again. It's one of the most fucked up things I think that has ever happened under an American administration. I know our country has done a lot and a lot worse. But he cemented himself as one of the worst and most evil presidents in our history so far by playing such a key, pivotal role in that. Edit 1, Kirstjen Nielsen can go fuck herself. Edit 2, this was my first award. And the most upvotes I've gotten on a single comment. I have a lot to say about this. But I'm just sorry to all of humanity. The things we do to each other. Just keep faith, everyone. We will get through this. And the world one day will simply be a better place. Keep fighting the good fight. And be kind to your neighbor. It pays off in the end. I don't know if the rally took place before or after he was elected. But I didn't see it until after. It was the one where he talked about how he hates windmills. And I believe he said he knows more about wind than anybody. Then did a bit about not being able to watch TV because it's not a windy day. That was when I became embarrassed about my vote and started to regret it. It only got worse after that. When I realized his words had no meaning. You literally can't trust anything he says. It could be blatant lies and he wouldn't care at all. It's dangerous. I was on the executive board of my college's Republican Party organization. It's been a long couple of years. My family and some friends though will still try to justify what he says. He's just trolling the liberals. He's getting back at the fake news. Edit, I commented this further down. I added it up here for more context on my post. The last presidential election was the first time I could vote. I've grown up in a red state. My family watches Fox News. I went to a really conservative church. It took a couple years of college to snap me out of it. I'm pretty moderate now. It's a microcosm of thinking and hate where you have to keep making excuses and justifying his actions to continue to be sane. That's where the alternative news networks come into play. They make people think they're the victims. That the liberals and George Soros are trying to take our guns and disrespect our flag. All protesters are rioters, etc. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you next time.